Did y'all hear that? I just ripped this out of my hair. It's just like a hairball. I need to get my nails done, so don't judge. So, I am aware that I have the same outfit on that I did in my last 2 videos, but that's because I've been sitting in the same spot and I haven't moved, and I'm gonna go get my kids soon, so I don't have time to change clothes for each video. So, this video is gonna be kind of a fun one for me. It is gonna be hotel horror stories, basically. Not really horror stories, but just like weird things that have happened while I've been working at this hotel for 3 years. Oh, also, please stay tuned for the last part of this video because that's going to be the craziest thing I've had to deal with since working in a hotel. Alright, so the first one I'm going to start with is just the creepy people. There is some weird people that you'll meet. I'm a weird person, but I'm not weird to the point that I creep people out. Well, maybe I am. I probably do creep people out because I am kind of weird. But it gets really bad when I work on second shift, which is 3 to 11. And that shift, I'm alone. There's no maintenance, security, housekeeping, management. Nothing is there except for little old me. And you get a lot of creeps. Just like I'm sure working like a gas station or anywhere else that's open at night and you're the only one there. And it sucks being a girl sometimes because I'm not saying all men, but some men feed off of that and just like putting you into uncomfortable situations. I can't move. I'm standing at the desk. I have nowhere to go. And they know that, so they just stand there at the desk the whole time, bothering you all night. And you can't be rude because then they're going to complain on you, give the hotel a bad review, and yeah, so it's just like, can you please go on somewhere? I should be a ventriloquist. Not really, I suck. Oh, that was cool. Oh, can I do this for real? Oh my god, I'm becoming a ventriloquist. Okay, anyway, maybe I do creep people out because I'm a freaking weirdo. Anyways, so yeah, the creepy guys. There's a lot of creepy guys. Yeah, so I can't even tell y'all how many times I've had just like random guys stand at the desk while I'm there, like for hours at a time, just like talking to me, and I'm just like trying to show them how uninterested I am in the conversation, and they just keep on. They don't get the hint that I want them to get out of my face so I can go sit down and watch some dang YouTube or some dang Netflix or do some dang homework or, you know, anything else but be there talking to them. And a lot of times these guys will hang around. What they do, I've noticed this, and I've started to come to the point that I don't tell them the correct time I get off, because what they'll do is before they show you how creepy they are, they'll be like, how long are you here for? Just like make simple talk. Like little old ladies will do that and be like, oh, how long is your shift? How long is it till you get to go home? And I'll be like, yeah, I leave at 11. Don't ever do that. That's dumb. I don't do it anymore, but don't do it. Don't ever tell somebody when you're getting off, because then they're going to be waiting for you to get off. And that's what they do. They will stand at the desk, or they'll go to their room for a little bit and then come back out when you're about to get off. And I can't tell you how many times I have looked at the cameras, or just like, I'm really aware of my surroundings, especially at work, because people are creepy. I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody standing at the door waiting for me to walk out, or standing in the parking lot waiting, or standing in the little smoking area not smoking, just waiting. And it's so creepy. Or they'll be bold enough to just stand at the desk, like, ugh. And the lady who works third shift, that is my bee. Like, she's my favorite person that works there, so she always has my back, and she don't play. She won't let nothing happen to me. But thankfully, I'm always aware of my surroundings, and if I ever see anything like that, I'll sneak out the back and have her watch the cameras for me until I leave. Like, I actually had her do that last night, because there was a truck that kept circling the parking lot, even though I didn't know who it was. I was still like, can you just watch till I get out of the parking lot and make sure everything's okay? And I stayed on the phone with her too, just because you never know. You never know. And also, I'll have, like, a lot of times we have regulars that stay there, and I'll have them walk me to my car, like men that I trust that have been staying there for like years, like every week, goes home on the weekend, like for years. So I trust these people. I don't think they're going to do anything. I'll have somebody like that walk me to my car so I don't have to worry. There was one time, me and one of my little sis, I call her my little sis. I've talked about her in my other videos. One time, she was up there with me and this dude was creeping both of us out. And we actually had to, okay, the way my desk is set up, here's the desk. Here's the side corner that nobody can see you in. And then here's a door that you can go out the front door. But then on this side is the laundry room and you can go out the back door like that. But I was stuck in this corner and this man was standing right here at the desk. So I actually crawled. I don't know if she crawled or if she just met me around, but we crawled behind the desk so we could get out of that door while he wasn't paying attention and run out. It was so funny. Yeah, stuff like that happens a lot. There's a bunch of creepy people. I had one time, it was like these brothers and they were just acting so sketchy. Like that was the only one time I've been scared that I was about to get robbed, because like they kept, okay, we have a women's and a men's bathroom in the lobby and it's just like a one bathroom. It's not like stalls. It's one bathroom that you go in and lock the door. And they kept like, one of them would come out and talk to me or come talk to me, and then they would meet each other in the bathroom and talk instead of just having a conversation in front of my face like normal people would about the room. They would always go to the bathroom and meet and talk. It was just really weird. They were really sketchy. I don't know. Maybe they were just on something. I don't know. It was weird. Oh, and then one time, this man, oh my God, he was like the perviest creep ever. I don't even know who he was, but he called the hotel phone and he was like, I'm interested in making a reservation. How much are your rates? Like a normal phone call. And I was like, oh, it's this much, whatever. We'll just need this from you to get the room reserved. And he was like, okay. So he was like, can you just hold on for a second while I go get my card? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I was just holding on. He was still having small talk. I was like, that's fine, that's fine. Like, he might have to go get his card out of his car. But then it was like 10 minutes. And I was like, okay, can you just call me back when you get that card? Because I'm busy. I have check-ins and other phone calls. And he was basically like, no, can you please stay on the phone with me? And then he like would not let me hang up for like 30 minutes, and I didn't want to hang up on him because then I was going to get in trouble or hanging up on customers. But then he started saying inappropriate stuff, and that's when I was like, okay. So he started calling me baby. I said, don't call me baby. I'm not your baby. I have a boyfriend. He was like asking me what I looked like, and I was like, that's unnecessary to this conversation. He was then like talking about how he would F his daughter and he loved it. And I was like, okay, you're sick. I'm gonna call the cops if you don't get off the phone. And I ended up hanging up. And then he would call back and I would just put him on hold and just keep him on hold so that way he couldn't call back, you know what I mean? Like, because if I would have just hung up, he could call right back. But instead, I was just like, can you please hold? And I just kept him on hold for like 20 minutes at a time each time. And he would hang up and call again. I just kept putting him on hold and hold and hold. And then finally, the next shift came in and he called. I think it was the lady who works night shift, who's my favorite person. And he called and she answered and she was just like, I'm not going to play this with you. I'm gonna call the cops if you keep on calling. Get off the phone, basically, bye. And so he stopped calling, which I don't know why I didn't do that, but I don't know. But it was really creepy, and I was like, I was scared to leave that night because I was like, what if he's like outside waiting? Because he was that creepy. Like, he was a creepy dude. It was really weird. So some other stuff that happens at the hotel. At my hotel, we take deposits if somebody pays cash, because if somebody pays with a card and they tear up the room or smoke in the room or something, we can go back and charge that card for whatever amount of the damages is. But if somebody pays cash, basically they pay cash and then they're gone. And we don't have any record. I mean, we have a record, but we don't have any other method of payment to get the money for the damages, basically. So when somebody pays cash for a room, we get a $100 cash deposit from them that they get back when they check out, as long as they don't tear the room up, smoke in the room, steal anything from the room, break anything, basically. And then whoever's working the front desk, that shift that they check out on has to go check the room to make sure that it's okay, and we can give them their deposit back. So a lot of the times, people who leave cash deposits for some reason smoke in the room, even though you literally just signed a paper saying that if you smoke in the room, you're not going to get your deposit back. But people do it anyways for some odd reason. I don't know. I'd rather go outside than smoke than lose $100, but that's on them, so whatever. A lot of fun times come from when I get to tell people you're not getting your deposit back because you smoked in the room. I've gotten cussed out a couple of times. I've gotten called a B. I've gotten called a C. I've gotten called a D. Just kidding. I've gotten called pretty much everything. I've gotten called stupid, ignorant, dumb, because I know what smoke smells like, and I know what it smells like when somebody smokes in a room. And yeah, the most recent was this guy who was mad that he couldn't get his deposit back because he smoked weed in the room. Like, I don't care if you smoke weed, but like, don't do it in the room, because then you're not going to get your money back. And if I give you your money back, I'm going to get in trouble for giving you your money back, because it's going to look like I didn't check the room and do my job. So, sorry, sir. Whatever. So I want to give him his money back. He started cussing me out. And then he started like threatening me and all that. He left because my boss was like, we're going to call the cops if you don't leave. He was like, I ain't scared of no cops. I was like, you better be scared of some cops, because you got some weed on you, and we live in Tennessee, and Tennessee weed ain't legal, so you gonna go to jail. So yeah, so he kept trying me, and I guess he thought I wasn't going to try him back, but I did, because I don't know, I was just irritated that day. So after he left, he called and he was like, you be trying to act so hard, but you ain't gonna do nothing, blah blah blah. And I'm like, how am I gonna do something? I'm at work. And I was like, basically like, bruh, if you don't quit calling this phone, I'm gonna call the cops anyways for harassment, because you're harassing me now that you're off the premises and still calling, so don't try it. And so he ended up leaving me alone, which that's not a creepy thing that happened. It's just an example of like the crap that we have to deal with working at hotels, with people being ignorant and dumb and doofuses. So one time though, this girl, it was a girl, her girlfriend, and like 4 kids. I don't know whose kids they were, but they were all in this room. And they smoked weed in the room. And I was working first shift this day, and my manager was there, and so I was like, they can't get the money back. They smoked weed in the room. Do you want to go check too? So my manager went and checked, and she found ashes and like weed particles and everything. Like, they did smoke in the room. It was very obvious. You could smell it, but we also always try to look for evidence so they can't say that they didn't, basically. If we find ashes, you clearly was smoking something. There's ashes on the ground. So my manager came back up and was like, yeah, we're not giving you your money back. You smoked in the room. We have proof, whatever, blah, blah, blah. When they did that, or when she did that, the girl, she was already mad. So she was like, let me see the evidence. Let me see the proof, blah, blah, blah. So my manager took her back to the room, which I wish for everything I would have gone back there with them, but I was busy at the desk. But my manager took her back there to the room, and after my manager showed her like the ashes and stuff, the girl was like, sorry, I was trying to see what time it was. I gotta go pick my kids up soon. The girl was like, so you're really not gonna give me my $100 back? And my boss was like, no, you smoked in the room. And so the girl picked up the microwave and threw it at my boss. And I don't think it hit her, but it like slammed on the ground. And she was basically like, the girl said, use my $100 to get you a new microwave then. And then she ran out the back door. I was like, bruh, that's crazy. I would have snapped if I was my boss. I would have chased that little bee out the door, and you thought you was gonna do that, and called the cops. But I wasn't back there, and my manager was just like, whatever. So we kept the deposit. She broke the microwave. I guess she won. And she didn't get caught. So another time, I had a girl who she was definitely on something, and also everybody else was that was in the room with her. But I went back there and checked the room, and it smelled like a fresh cigarette. Like, it didn't smell like they smoked it after they checked in the night before. It smelled like they just smoked one and then were like, hey, checking out. Can you go check my room so I can get my money back? And I was like, okay. So I went back there and checked it, and it was like, whoosh, like cigarette all in my face. And I basically came up there, and I was like, you can't get your money back. You smoked in the room. It smells like cigarettes in there. Like, I don't be playing with people. I just be like telling them straight up. I don't be like, well, it kind of smells like smoke in there, so we're not going to give you your money back. I just be like, you smoked a cigarette in there. You're not getting your money back. Anyways, so this hoe, she said I didn't smoke in there. My friend did. So I need my money back. I was like, well, you're not getting this $100 back unless your friend wants to come give me $100 to replace it with. So unless you're going to do that, you better ask your friend for that money since she's the one who smoked in the room. What other experience have I had? I've had a bunch of mess. I'm sure after I post this video and record it, I'm going to think of more too. So that's pretty much everything with the deposits I've had. It happens all the time. I just get cussed out most of the time. But that was the craziest one, was when the girl threw the microwave. So working in a hotel, you really got to have some thick skin because you will get cussed out. And you got to remember, it's just because you're the face of the company. It's not because they're taking it out on you. They're mad at the hotel, and you're the hotel's face. So you get all of that. Another time I had this drunk guy who was like super drunk. It was two guys. It was one guy and then his friend. The one guy was at the hotel. He was super drunk. He was just like, he couldn't get in his room. He kept locking himself out and coming down asking for keys. He was starting to get mad because his dumb self couldn't get into the room because he was so drunk he couldn't figure out how to put the key in the hole. And instead he was cussing me out because he thought that I was giving him the wrong key, even though he was just too stupid to understand how to unlock his door. So I had given him like 3 keys. And then I don't know exactly why the other guy called me. He wasn't actually at the hotel, but he was the one who actually had paid for the room. He called me and he started cussing me out, and I could tell he was drunk too. And he was just like cussing me out, threatening me. He was like, you better hope you're not up there when I get up there. It's gonna be a problem. And just like, I don't even know what he was mad at. I don't know if he was mad that his friend couldn't get in the room, or I don't know what he was mad at, but he was cussing me out and basically just snapping on me. So yeah, basically it was a mess, and he was cussing me out, and I was just like, I snapped, like, because I could tell he was drunk and he wasn't in his right mind anyway. So I was like, get the F off my phone and don't call me again talking me crazy like that. Like, you got me messed up. So anyways, the other drunk guy, his friend, since he couldn't get into the room, he decided to pass out in the hallway. And there was a lady who was in the room, not directly next to him, but a couple doors down, and she was really sweet. So she tried to, apparently tried to, like, help him, get him up, get him into his room. And he started trying to punch her and kick her. So she was like, oh, no, I'm not finna deal with this. And so she came down to me, and she was like, there's somebody passed out in your hallway drunk. And I was like, okay, cool. So I just called, I called my boss, and I was like, what should I do? He's drunk. I'm not trying to go up there and touch him because another girl just tried to help him out, and he started getting violent with her, and if he gets violent with me, it's going to be a problem. I'll knock his little drunk self out. So she was like, call the cops. Tell them he's drunk and he's passed out in the middle of the floor. And I was like, okay. So I did. I don't want anybody to go to jail ever, especially just for getting drunk and having a good time. I don't want people to go to jail. So he apparently woke up at some point while the cops were coming and asked me for another key to his room, and I gave him one because I didn't want to see him go to jail, even though he was causing problems for everybody. I don't know. I'm a big softie. I don't like sending people to jail. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my mission in life to send people to jail. Because I wouldn't want somebody doing me like that. So yeah, he went in the room. Cops came. They were irritated with me because they were like, why'd you give him a key? We would have just arrested him. And I was just like, sorry. He did end up destroying the room. He broke a picture frame, drawers. Thankfully, he didn't break the TV, but pretty much everything else was broken. So I was like, my bad for letting him back in the room, but they could have done that before. I really don't know when they broke all that stuff, but when they checked out, that's when we found everything was broken. But Mr. M, I actually remember his name, he got a nice hefty charge on his credit card from all the damages in the room. So don't be dumb. A couple of times we have thought people have passed away in the rooms. One time this woman called and she was like, hey, I know my daughter is staying at your hotel. She gave me her room number and everything. And we can't disclose any information unless they already have the information, if that makes any sense. We can't tell them room numbers, people's names. If they're like, what, I need to talk to this room number, I'm like, what's the name in the room? Or if they're like, I need to talk to this person, I'm like, what's the room number? Because the only way we can tell that people want people to know they're there is if they tell them their name and their room, or if they tell them their room number. Because if they're just like, I need to talk to Sally Sue, and I'm like, well, what room number is she in? And they're like, I don't know. Then they could just be trying to see if she's there and come do something to her. You know what I mean? And if they're also like, I need to talk to somebody in this room, then they could have just been like watching them and been like, ooh, I want to talk to her. You know what I mean? So you can't do anything unless they know the name and the room number. So she knew those, and she was basically like, I've been texting her and calling her all day and she hasn't been answering. I'm just trying to make sure she's okay. So I was like, okay, hold on. And so I tried to transfer her to the room. The girl didn't answer. We tried to transfer like 3 more times. She didn't answer. I went up there and knocked on her door to tell her to call her mom because she's worried about her. She didn't answer. So that's when I started getting freaked out. And so her mom actually called the cops and wanted them to do a welfare check on her. Cops got there, banged on the door, like the cop knock. And she still didn't answer, so they had me come up there and open the door. We found her in there. She was on the bed. She was alive, but she was on some drugs. I don't know exactly what she was on. The cops didn't tell me, but they found it in the room. She was just knocked out, basically. They made me touch her and wake her up, I guess, because they were all men and I was a woman. They are not allowed to touch. I know that from personal experience. I had to get searched one time and they had to call a woman officer to come search me, but that'll be another story. So yeah, they made me touch her and wake her up. I was like, I don't want to touch her. I don't like touching people. I'm not a touchy person. But I was like, wake up, wakey, wakey, exit Becky. So she woke up. The cops were like, okay, you can leave. Basically, they told me to leave out the room. They were like telling her, basically they found drugs, and they didn't arrest her though, I don't think. But they were basically like, you need to call your mom. She's worried sick about you, you dumb bee. So yeah, that was fun. Another time, a man had a heart attack at our hotel. I wasn't working that time, but somebody else was. She was actually a registered nurse or something. It was like her second job. And she actually gave the man CPR, got him stable enough to go to the hospital. And then he sadly passed away at the hospital, but he didn't actually pass away in the hotel. Another time, this one was actually kind of funny because it ended up being nothing. But basically, one day, one of my housekeepers said they couldn't get into the room. They said that the light, okay, if you can't get into the room, there's 2 lights. A red light means that either the key doesn't work or the batteries on the door are dead. Orange light means that somebody has the deadbolt locked on the inside, so we can't go in from the outside at all unless they open it. So this time they had told me that it was orange, and I never went up to check. My boss told me to call the cops so they could come look and see what was going on, because at first they thought they were just trying to stay in the room and not pay. And then the cops get there and we realized that the light on the door was actually red and the batteries were dead and there was nobody in the room. So that was embarrassing, but it was kind of funny. And then this is gonna be my last story, which happened just a couple of days ago, and it has been the scariest thing that has happened since I have been working at the hotel. The other day, we had one of my housekeepers, she came up, or she called me. Okay, let me just start from the beginning. At our checkout time, I give the head housekeeper a list, and on this list it has all of the rooms that have not checked out yet. A lot of people do this, they just leave and they don't check out at the desk. They just leave their keys in the room, stuff like that. So I give her this list. She goes around, check the rooms, make sure everybody's out. If they're not out, she'll ask them, are they staying? They need to come pay, or are they leaving? They need to hurry up and leave, basically, because it's checkout time. And they have to clean the rooms for the next group of people that comes in tonight. So I gave her this list. She checked them all off. Everybody was gone. A couple of minutes later, I get a call from the housekeeper who is actually cleaning one of these rooms. And she says, hey, Melly. She calls me Melly. Also, Melly. She said, hey, Melly, are you sure this room is checked out? Because I just came in here and his shoes are still in here. His phone's in here. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I about said her name. The head housekeeper said that he was, so he should be gone. I don't see why she would have said that if he wasn't. And I'll explain that part later. And she was like, oh, okay. Okay, cool. I was like, go ahead and start cleaning and then just bring his stuff down when you're done and I'll just hold it at the desk. We'll call him and tell him come get his stuff. He forgot it. And she was like, okay. A couple minutes later, she calls me again and she's panicking. And she was like, I need you to get the manager and tell him to come up here. I need him now. Now. And I was like, what's going on? What, like, are you okay? And she was like, I don't know if he's dead. And I was like, who's dead? Wait, what? What are you talking about? And she was like, the guy in the room. And I was like, what guy in the room? I thought that it was empty. And she was like, I did too. But the bathroom, he was in the bathroom. I was like, okay, we're coming up. So I got my manager and then my other manager, and we all went up there to the room. And the guy was dead on the floor in the bathroom of his room. And he had been gone for a while. The bathroom door was closed. That's why the housekeeper didn't see him when he went in. And the head housekeeper didn't see him when she went in the room either. Because what she does, she'll just knock on the door. Nobody answers, she'll open it up and make sure it's empty. She didn't walk all the way in there to see his shoes because they were on the other side of the bed, as was his phone. And the bathroom door was closed, so she didn't think he was in there because he would have answered when she knocked on the door, right? So it's not her fault. He had passed away in the bathroom. I'm not sure what the reason was. That's the first dead body I've seen that wasn't at a funeral. It was really weird. It was a weird experience, and really scary. And last night was the first night, or the first time I've worked since then, so I was spooked all flipping night. I didn't want to go in any rooms by myself. I didn't want to do anything because I'm a big believer in paranormal things, so I was just not messing with it. I was like, oh no. So yeah, it was really sad, and rest in peace to him, because I actually know some of his family. I didn't know him, but it was a really, really sad and weird and scary day. Yeah, the cops came. They had the crime scene, or not crime, but they had the room blocked off. And thankfully we were doing renovations on that floor because there was no guests up there, and all the other rooms that were up there had already checked out, and most of the guests weren't on that floor because a lot of the rooms were blocked off for renovations. So I don't think any of the guests really knew what was going on. The ambulance came and left because he was already gone. There was nothing he could do. Or nothing they could do. Cops came. Before the cops came, one of the renovators, he actually came in and checked him because I wasn't going to touch him. The housekeepers weren't going to touch him. It was scary enough seeing him, but one of the renovators came in and grabbed him. He was like, yeah, he's dead. He's from Russia. Yeah, he's dead. It was really creepy. So the ambulance got there. There's nothing they could do. They left. The cops got there, took statements, looked at the video. They were trying to see if he was there alone or basically what the cause of death was. I still don't know, My thoughts are probably drugs, like an overdose. And he was pretty young. I think he was like 36. So it was really just creepy to see. But they came and took his body out, and they put somebody in the room the next day. So when you stay at a hotel, you never really know what you're going to get. You never know what happened in the room before you. When you work at a hotel, you never know what you're going to experience. I'm still working at the hotel, so I'm sure I'll have more experiences for you. I'm sure I'll think of more that I just forgot about. That was pretty much it for this video. If y'all have any suggestions of what I should do next, just let me know and I'll do it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.